Hello again, everyone. Edwin Learnard back once again. In this YouTube astrological segment, I'm going to be talking about transit south node, square, opposition, or inconjunct one's natal Mars. Now, when we're talking about transits that involve the south node, it can be about what you're going away from, the past, what you're even perhaps naturally proficient in, overdeveloped and redundant qualities. And when you have the transit of the south node basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Mars, well, it may manifest in what you're. First, I'm going to be kind and rewind. I'm going to elaborate on when I say basically adverse aspect, okay? Squares and oppositions. Of course, those aspects are adverse and negative in astrology. Now, inconjuncts are neutral aspects, but neutral aspects can have good and bad qualities in them, coupled with the fact that an inconjunct aspect can often require an adjustment or transition, and those things, of course, can cause some tension and exasperation. So collectively, basically, I do see this as an adverse transit. Now, anyway, going back, when transit south node is basically making an adverse aspect to one's natal Mars, it could manifest in what you're going away from. It could be the past, what you're naturally proficient in, overdeveloped and redundant qualities. These things may conflict, with your vitality, your energy at this time. It might be somebody, from the past, might be, physically draining you, or it's doing something which is causing your energy to be depleted. I mean, say if the transit south node is in, let's say it's in Gemini in the third house, it could be a mischievous neighbor from the past, or even mischievous sibling or cousin perhaps, and there might be something that might be draining you physically at this time. It could be somebody that is asking you for favors to do this, to do that. It could be somebody. Say if it's this transit south node is in Taurus in the 8th house, it could be someone you showed a lot of loyal support to. Another thing is that when you look at Mars is about our actions, and the thing about this is it could be where maybe there's again going this person from the someone from the past may be prohibiting you somehow and causing some delays in taking action in some other aspect in your life. It could be you might be so tied up doing what you feel at this time. You feel naturally adept and naturally proficient, and those things might be challenging other actions that need to be may need to be taken. It can be situation too. Mars is also it's acrimony, it's anger, and someone from the past could be causing this acrimony. Maybe you're upset about something or exasperated at something where it's causing problems, and you're trying to do things that you feel you're really adept in, where you're naturally proficient in at this time. There might be something to Mars is also about our drive and motivation. Maybe you're lacking that inspiration, that drive and motivation to either deal with people from the past, or even just to get away from something that you think may be affecting you to your detriment at this time. And also, again, the south node can be those developed and redundant qualities. Say if the transit south node is in Aquarius, it could be something with very non-conforming, rebellious type behavior, idiosyncratic behavior. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be putting suction cups on your hands and scaling the walls like Spider-Man or something. But this is where a lot of this energy, doing these things, or doing something, that's a little bit, redundant in connection with the south node transit, might be depleting the energy at this time. If the transit south node, say, is in Virgo, It might be very strong hypochondriac or germophobic tendencies. I don't know if those words apply anymore to what I'm describing, but you understand, what I'm saying at this time. And Mars is also connected with enthusiasm. So you might not be exactly overly exuberant or enthusiastic in dealing with people from the past. And keep in mind, I know some of you believe that the South Node, is connected, with past lives. So it could be someone that you believe you may have known in another time. Those things you might not have an overabundance of enthusiasm to be dealing with at this time. Also, too, Mars is also about combat and confrontation. And the thing is, maybe you're going to have difficulty if you need to confront someone that you knew from the past, over some issue maybe you've been lamenting or brooding over for some time. This could be a time where it could be immense difficulty in doing so. If you're expressing some of those what I was describing before, the overdeveloped and redundant qualities that are connected to the South Node transit, and it's somehow these qualities are affecting you to your detriment, maybe there's difficulty in confronting that at this time. Looking at yourself and what you might be doing that might be affecting you to your detriment at this time. Now the leadership, Mars is connected with leadership. It's initiative and enterprise. So there could be time with this transit. If you're trying to get out of doing something, or you feel leadership is required, whether it could be a management position, it could be something where even if you're working somewhere in a subordinate or subservient role, where you might be called on to be a leader, to express leadership qualities, be a leader. It might be something that if you don't, even if you're not really up for it, it might be hard to get away from, to extricate yourself from that situation at this time. Now also too, anatomically speaking, Mars is connected with the head, the skull, the face, sexual organs. So if you're experiencing any physical difficulties in those things that I just described that are anatomically connected with Mars, you're trying to leave them in the past and forget about them, try to be oblivious to them. It's going to be it might be difficult at this time to do so. It might be time where you have no choice but to do something about these problems if you are going through them at this time. And those things might also challenge matters with people that are from your past, doing things that you feel at this time you're naturally adept or proficient in. And Mars is also connected with physical injuries in general. So if you are succumb to some physical injuries, say if the transit of the South Node is in Leo, for example, especially if it falls in the first or the sixth house in the natal chart. The first house, of course, is associated with the physical body. The sixth house can be about physical health-related issues. It could be something with the heart, the spine, or the upper back, may be challenging you trying to deal with issues. Whether it's a person from the past, whether it's an issue connected with the past, whether it's some legal matter as an example, that might have been thrown under the proverbial rug as an example. Those things there may be more difficulty in trying to deal with them at this time due to some physical related issue. Now the thing about Mars is also connected with surgery. There could also be some surgical procedure that may need to be done. If that has to be done, this is a time where it may be hard to hesitate or procrastinate on it any longer, because again, South Node is what we're trying to get away from, and it might be more difficult trying to get out of doing that at this point in time. And Mars is also about courage and fortitude and bravery. And the thing is, maybe it's hard for you to actually have the courage to see perhaps what might be affecting you to your detriment in connection with the South Node. Say if the transit South Node is in Pisces in the 11th house as an example, you might be dealing with some kind of betrayal or deception from a friend. Maybe you're having trouble acknowledging it at this time. Hold on a moment. Sorry about that, I'm back, but anyway. And anyway, now another way, this transit may manifest again. It could be someone from your past, which is the South Node, may adversely affect your energy and vitality level, which is Mars. Now, let's say, for example, if the transit South Node is in Virgo in the second house, it could be somebody that may have been exceptionally critical or judgmental, which is Virgo, that might have impacted your self-worth, your self-esteem, and how you feel about yourself, and that's the second house. Now, at this time as well, there may be more difficulty, maybe harder to get away, which is a South Node. From it could be a contentious, situation, which is connected with Mars. Now, let's say, for example, if the natal Mars is in Cancer in the 8th house, it could be a contentious situation with a family member, which is Cancer. It could be over inheritance, over a will, over support in general, which is the 8th house. Now, also, too, now something that may be affecting you to your detriment may challenge you in taking action at this time. Mars is connected with action. The South Node can be detrimental at times, and anyway. Now, let's say, for example, if the transit South Node is in Aquarius in the 3rd house, you might be dealing with electrical issues, which is Aquarius, with the car or vehicle, and that are affecting local transportation, which of course is associated with the 3rd house at this time. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, people, Edwin Learnard saying stay well.